The Cozoy D1 is a newcomer bearing an old name. Now in the world of chi-fi, brands come and go just like fleeting winds, but sometimes they do return as something entirely new. Now Cozoy might ring a bell if you were like an audiophile back in the 2010s, but they have since come under new management and looking to capture a new audience with their first release, the Cozoy D1. Let's see if this first release is a successful rebirth or is it more of an abortion. I haven't seen this style of packaging in quite a while. It's pretty old school and minimalistic, just a simple black box, and you've also got this quirky motto about DDs, BAs, and planars. Slide off the sleeve, lift lid, and nestled in foam, you've got the D1s with their cable attached. Now to the side is a small box containing some low-profile ear tips. You've got a pair of white, shorter ear tips, as well as some very nice small double flanges with a bonus pair of foamies too. So this is an okay unboxing. I appreciate the foam tips. It's not often that you see it in the budget tier, but I would have also liked to be given at least like a carrying pouch. Now visually, the D1 punches above its class. They have resin shells that feature a bluish purple pattern, it's sleek, and it's slimmer than your typical IEM shell. Now my left ear seals perfectly, but the right side can be a bit finicky, so your ear tips will have to pick up the slack. Finally, there's an included cable that's not a generic thin black strand. You've got a vibrant purple one with a pearlescent sheen. It's reminiscent of the Moondrop Starfield's cable, but you have glossy metal jack parts. This cable has just the right amount of personality without going too gaudy. I'll admit, I was kind of skeptical about the included small ear tips. They're like the last ear tips I expect to pair well with the Cozoy D1, but surprisingly, they delivered the best sound performance. Now my usual go-to ear tips like the AET-07s, they made the D1 kind of thin and coarse sounding. Thankfully, this time my ears cooperated with the included foamies, which tamed the slightly hot treble and smoothed things out nicely. Now the D1 is easily driven by most mobile sources, but I would recommend something with like a warmer or a darker tone even, just to even out the brighter tuning of this particular IEM. Tuning wise, the D1 has a lean, kind of bright V-shaped tuning, lots of energy in the upper mids and the lower treble. It's kind of a double-edged sword, so let's break it down. The bass on the D1 is conservative. It's sitting in between a kind of normal amount and a bit in between being bass light. So it mostly provides percussive impact for drums with a modest slam factor. You're getting like an even amount of sub and mid bass, and because of its lesser quantity, it kind of keeps the mid-range quite clean with no bleeding. And although it is quite shy in its stock form, you can definitely just crank the EQ on the D1's low end with good headroom to spare, should you want a little bit more oomph. So the mids of the D1, they're gonna be divisive. Now you have thin lower mids, which helps to accentuate the detailing of the upper mid range, but it doesn't do any good for the overall warmth. Upper mids are vocal forward. It tracks actually quite closely to the 2019 Harman IE target, which definitely has its share of both lovers and haters. Now I was pleasantly surprised to see that this IEM portrays the Odessa Severance remixes very well, with the little sprinklings of distant sims and the little ticks and talks of the clock noises in the tracks. It's shown with very good sharpness. Now treble is where the D1, it takes a slight detour from the budget playbook. Most IEMs at this price dip after like the 8 kHz resonance peak, but Cozoy kinda lets the treble breathe a bit, giving electronic instruments just that extra bite and aggression. Sometimes it works beautifully. Other times, well, it kinda crosses into that coarse and rough territory. It's a bold move, but honestly, they might have flown too close to the sun here. So with those smaller ear tips, having the nozzle just so close to my ears, the D1 to me, it has like quite a narrow soundstage width. Soundstage height though is a bit better than similarly priced IEMs. You do get like some basic height distinction between musical elements. You know, it helps keep the entire sound from feeling like suffocating. Detailing performance is also quite solid for its price tag. You mostly just get to hear macro details quite clearly separated, whilst the micro detailing is more sparse. Certainly it's there, but it does get masked and kind of blurred if song gets too busy. So graph-wise, the D1 kind of looks like a close cousin to the EPZ Q1 Pro and the G20. So I say both the G20 and Q1 Pro are close because they are essentially the same IEM in their analog mode. But the G20, it does include a DSP cable, which offers you some potential for parametric EQ. Despite that, the sound on the Cozoy, it actually presents quite differently from the EPZ ones. So the D1 grabs with more bass, but in reality, it's actually more conservative than the EPZ's punchier low end. Now the D1 is brighter and leaner in the mids, with treble that shifts the whole signature towards sparkle, whilst the EPZ, it stays like firmly into V-shaped territory. The technicalities on these are quite similar too. You might even be able to argue that like they're the same driver with different acoustic chambering and tuning foams, which provide sound differences. Now your choice here, it will boil down to aesthetics and whether you like just a standard V-shape or you want something with a bit of bright spice added. And perhaps for the G20 if you want a cable with DSP. So if the Cozoy D1 leans into like the brighter side, what's a complementary set that leans to the warmer side? That would be the Kiwi Ears Belle, which also sits at a similar price level. Now the Belle's sweet and lush sound gives its bass a more like upfront roll. It's got more mid-bass energy, and that makes for a kind of softer low end with longer decay than the D1. Lower mids on the Belle are also more colored and emphasized. It's giving like a thicker feeling to all of your tracks, whilst the D1 keeps it lean, focusing more on like a sharp and bright upper mid range. So the D1 is practically sparkling compared to the Belle's more kind of muted and then toned down high range. Now both IEMs, again, they come surprisingly close on the technical front, but I think the D1 still pulls off a slight win in just overall separation and imaging thanks to its marginally better stage height. These IEMs are kind of opposites in their tuning philosophies, and I think that makes them good complements to each other. The first IEM of a new Chi-Fi brand is always an important landmark. In the best case, it may possibly be like a huge hit and create a lasting legacy. But more importantly, it's a chance to make a good impression with new audiophiles. Cozoy, now under new management, has managed to kind of reintroduce themselves into the Chi-Fi world with a solid first entry in the form of the D1, offering a bright V-shape, thoughtful ear tip inclusions, and a purple themed cable that is not often seen in the budget segment. Again, it's where everything surrounding the IEM itself is often cost optimized to the utmost degree. Sure, there are still some rough spots in the tuning and the fit can be kind of inconsistent, but as a foundation, the D1 is a strong start. Still, the budget Chi-Fi arena is brutally competitive, and Cozoy's uphill battle has only just begun. And that's it for this review. Thank you to Cozoy for providing me with a D1 to listen to. As always, they do not have any creative or editorial control over my